Released in the midst of several cult classics such as Mass Effect and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Dragon Age Origins is simply BioWare at its best. It's a game driven by player choice.
Please help me. I've got to return to camp.
Supplemented by a reactive companion system.
You want us to assist this preachy schoolmistress?
While the combat can feel dated at times, the writing is what makes this heroic tale memorable. Player choice is at the forefront, with small decisions like deciding to spare or take an assassin's life mattering in the end. There were several moments and story beats where I had to slow down and think about the choice I wanted to make. Usually all options come with some sort of loss or compromise. While this can be mitigated by the persuasion skill at times, the more story-driven decisions always come with consequences. The game also adds an entirely different layer to this in the form of reactive companions.
Interesting strategy. Tell me, do you intend to keep going north until it becomes south and attack the Archdemon from the rear? The Archdemon is our goal, and we are heading away from it to find the charred remnants of a dead woman. I will not simply follow in your shadow as you run from battle.
Not everyone in your party will approve of what you do, meaning you must keep your relationship with them in mind. Ruthlessness attracts particular companions and puts off others. It's important to be mindful of which companions you bring with you to quest and how they might react to certain outcomes. This system can be abused though, through the gift-giving mechanic. Each character has certain items they like, and they all affect their feelings toward you.
Is that for me? Really? Wow!
This is important because almost all companions have personal quests. They don't take long to complete, but they do still add a nice little layer of depth to the characters. My favorite companion quest came from Morgan and Ogren, while my least favorite was from Alistair. Another small detail I enjoyed was in the party selection screen. Your companions absolutely do not like being deselected.
Thunder Humper.
As I mentioned, the writing had me hooked with pretty much every storyline. The dwarves had to deal with some pretty interesting political turmoil.
Not speak that way about the man who should be king!
While the elves were facing a more sinister but complicated threat. The quality comes down to the layers of story built up as you progress. Not everything is as it seems, and some things are more connected than you may know. Jumping into combat, it is a little slow in the beginning, but it picks up as the game goes on. You don't start with many abilities at first, which can lead to fights becoming a tad bit repetitive. However, this slowly changes as you progress. There are plenty of abilities for each class. Everyone also gets different specializations that offer up various skill sets, allowing you to turn your character into the type of warrior, mage, or archer you want them to be. Specializations also tie into the story, with some of them being unlocked through companions that already have them, like Alistair who can teach you to become a Templar, or by finding them throughout the world. When fighting enemies, you can mainly rely on your preset tactic slots for your companions, or you can be more tactical by pausing the battle and setting up each person's next move. Honestly, the combat reminds me a bit of how Knights of the Old Republic worked. One small issue I noticed had to do with positioning. Sometimes the player character would get stuck in a way that would not allow them to attack. While this wasn't the end of the world, it was still annoying at times, as you can see here. Also want to touch on the various creatures that you can encounter. They vary from actual wildlife to insane creatures from beyond our world. I thought there were a lot of unique designs that really added to the game's overall lore and atmosphere. While Dragon Age Origins does suffer a bit graphically due to its age, it was released in 2009, its environments are still really well done and pretty fun to explore. Looking at the world map, most of these icons are expansive areas that have several sub-locations to explore as well. They include a gigantic forest, expansive underground tunnels, and even a lakeside town and castle. The Brazilian forest is quite nostalgic for me. I'm always reminded of it when I smell the pine forest candle. It's just the vibe I get from the place. When it comes to the Dwarven City, I found it to be fun to explore, but it was tedious running back and forth from each side during quests. I was worried about how repetitive deep roads would be, but I was pleased with how each area changed as I progressed, and I thought it added a nice variety to an otherwise long section of the game. Also, contrary to popular opinion, I didn't think the Fade section was all that bad. I found it to be a tad bit too long, but I otherwise enjoyed the puzzles and getting to play as different creatures. Some of the only actual issues I have with this game came in the form of random crashes and some texture glitches in the main city of Denerim. I played Origins through Steam, and I wanted to experience the game without the help of mods that would fix bugs for the sake of the review, That being said, I found that turning down the graphic settings to medium solved all of my problems. All in all, while combat can feel dated at times, a polished narrative and emphasis on player choice makes Dragon Age Origins an experience to remember.